Hello, mathematicians. So we are on page 11 of Unit 6, looking at day 6, solving a quadratic equation method using the quadratic formula, because we're continuing from our lesson from yesterday. And as a reminder, the quadratic formula is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all of that divided by 2a. Okay, so we are going to look at number 1. And like we said yesterday, the first step is that we want to make sure that this is equal to 0 and also in standard form. If you notice, this is not equal to 0. As a reminder, we never really want to work with negative x squared. So in this scenario, it's best that we move over the negative 3x squared by doing the inverse operation of adding 3x squared to both sides. And we will then have 3x squared plus 8x minus 12 equals 0. We then identify a, b, and c. A equals 3, b equals 8, and c equals negative 12. We are then going, let me move this down a little. Okay, we are then going to put it into our equation. So I'm just going to write it again. Okay, so I'm going to start plugging in. So then we'll have x equals negative, remember parentheses play a big part in this one, negative 8 plus or minus the square root of 8 squared minus 4 times 3 times negative 12 all over 2 times 3. And as you mentioned, we want to do what's under the square root first in our calculators. We're not going to add in the square root. We're just going to simply add it. Not add in, but put in what we have. So you'd have parenthesis x close parenthesis squared minus 4 parenthesis 3 close parenthesis open parenthesis negative 12 close parenthesis, and you'll get 208. So then you could write negative 8 plus or minus the square root of 208, and all of that is over 6. So now you want to check in your calculator and see if 208 is a perfect square. And you'll notice that it's not a perfect square. So we're going to have to reduce it. And if we're going to reduce it and simplify that radical, we really need to be going into prime factorization, which we did 2 days ago. So I'm going to move up a little bit, get us some more room. So on the side here, I'm going to take the square root of 208, and I'm going to start with some factors that will lead us into our primes. So what you can do is you can use your y equals screen and find the factors. Remember, that trick is on the Google Classroom. And I'm going to look for some squares. I think that's going to help us a little easier. I noticed that 16 times 13 is 208. 13 I know is a prime, so I'm going to stop there. And I could take 16 and say it's 4 times 4. I could also keep going and do 2 times 2. 2 times, 2. Oh, it's going to do it again. Oh my goodness gracious. Times 2. So then I would have all my primes. I would put them back. And have 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 13. And I'm going to circle my pairs. And then I would have the square root of 4 times the square root of 4 times the square root of 13. And that's 2 times 2 times radical 13. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 radical 13. Now I'm going to put that back in here. So I have x equals negative 8 plus or minus 4 radical 13. And all that is over 6. Now I can reduce this because 8, 4, and 6 do have some like terms. So I could even say x is equal to negative 4 plus or minus 2 radical 13 all over 3, because here the GCF is 2. Okay, thanks ladies.